Any significant increase in water flow that magnifies either the natural or man-made bands in any area of a river system is referred to as a flood. Therefore, when a riverbed is overtopped, the water extends over the floodplain and generally becomes a hazard to the society, till at all 2013. Malaysia is vulnerable to underflooding, and at least once every 5 years, numerous states are impacted by a significant flooding disaster. End of year noticed monsoons bring about extremely strong rainstorms, especially in the eastern states. Due to the frequent flooding, traditional state homes are frequently built on rivers and coasts. Flash floods can cause serious damage to valuable products as well as the loss of life for living beings. There are certain states that have a serious flash flood often happen. The northeast monsoon, which occurs between October and March, brings torrential rains to Terengganu and causes major floods throughout the state practically every year. In addition to the significant amount of rain that fell during the monsoon season, the floods that occurred in Terengganu State's Dungun district were caused by a mix of physical conditions, including elevation and closeness to the sea. The Muar River Basin has a long history of flooding. There have been numerous significant rainfall events that have caused flooding throughout the catchments of the Muar River Basin. The floods that have been observed are displayed for the periods of December 1926 to January 1927, February to April 1967, November 1967 to January 1968, December 1970 to January 1971, and November 1979 accordingly. From 1980 to 2010, a total of 39 flood events have been recorded, Chin et al. 2013. However, in December 2021, Sri Muda Selangor had been hit by a serious flash flood after 26 years. According to Kevin Lim, resident of Taman Sri Muda for the past 28 years, he said the identical thing occurred 26 years later. Even terrible, the floods were almost 10 feet high. The northeast monsoon season and typhoons which affect both Peninsula and East Malaysia frequently cause floods. There are 3 different kinds of flooding: flash floods, river floods, and coastal floods. The average annual cost of flood damage has reached RM 100 million. This is from the latest flood calamity, which started at the end of last year and continued until the beginning of this year, total RM 6.1 billion. At least 476 fatalities have occurred since 1996, or 60 each year on average. In 1996, tropical storm Grace flooded in Keningau, Sabah State, claimed 241 lives, damaged infrastructure, and assets worth more than USD 97.8 million, and ruined thousands of homes. Floods have a negative impact on economies and general society. Floods are arguably the most common and destructive of all natural catastrophes in Malaysia. In Malaysia, flooding is therefore regarded as the most serious of tragedy. The years 1886, 1926, 1931, 1947, 1954, 1957, 1965, 1967, 1970, and 1971, 1988, 1993, 1996, 2000, 2006, and 2007, 2008, 2009, and 2010 also significant floods. Because it wiped off hundreds of square kilometers of lowland forest on the floodplains of the Kelantan and Besar rivers, the 1926 flood is referred to as the Storm Forest Flood. Among these floods, the residents of Sri Muda were recently impacted by a major flash flood in 2021, and the old Kuchai Road was inundated in 2022 such that cars missing on it. In Malaysia, the government has implemented a number of flood prevention or mitigation methods to prevent or lessen property loss, fatalities, and the spread of infectious disease. The main purpose of flood prevention is to reduce the impact of floods on humans and others, Khalid and Shafi'i, 2015. relocating people from flooded places to better design areas that are on elevation is one of the remedies to flooding. Another way to reduce flooding is to control the hazards with structural measures. Text 2008. According to Figure 5, similar findings were found in studies by Cohen et al. 2010, who recommended moving people to high elevations to lessen the impact of flooding. 44% of persons had suggested transferring people to a higher location. I have experience as a flood victim, and my local community in my area residents have helped my family to transfer us to a higher location. This mitigation helped my family from being submerged in water as the floodwaters rose in our house. More than 34% of the interviews approved another idea, which is to employ adaptive structures that can lessen flooding frequency. According to a research by Hussein et al. 2014, high concrete lifts and pumps have been installed along the Clanton River as flood prevention measures. The number of flood victims this year has been marginally decreased thanks to these actions. About 17% of respondents think that helping with flood relief effort is necessary to reduce flooding. 5% believe that since flooding is a natural calamity, none of these efforts will be able to lessen it. Additionally, according to Mohit and Salu 2013 and Osman et al. 2014, one example of the measure of non-structural flood disaster management in Malaysia is Town. This task entails efficiently communicating flood early warnings to flood victims. Even though a flood is simply a body of water, it is capable of taking human lives apart from damage to property. Because flash floods and other disasters will continue to affect people and have a detrimental impact on life, property, and infrastructure, we must act seriously to prevent them. Flooding has various causes, including the drainage system, the weather, urbanization, environmental factors, debris, and others. The majority of individuals think that inadequate drainage systems are the primary cause of flooding. Therefore, the drainage system needs to be properly managed and planned so that it can accept wastewater flow and can quickly and easily drain water in the event of a dam collapse or when the bank of a river is full due to heavy rainfall.